Three women found themselves at the pearly gates of heaven. They stood before an angel and St. Peter, who would determine the privileges they would enjoy in heaven. St. Peter, with a kind and authoritative voice, addressed the women. I have just one important question for you all. Have you lived a chaste life? The first woman stepped forward confidently and said, I have been with only one man in my life, my husband. Our first time was on our wedding night, and I have been faithful ever since. St. Peter nodded approvingly and turned to the angel beside him. Ah, a one who has lived as God intended, and certainly deserving of reward. He then declared, Give her a key to the golden room. The second woman, with a serene smile, shared her story. I have never known a man's touch. I devoted my life to God as a nun and stayed in the sisterhood since I was a young girl. St. Peter, visibly impressed by her dedication, turned to the angel and said, Truly exceptional, a woman who has gone above and beyond in service of God. He then instructed, Give her a key to the platinum room. The third woman stepped forward and candidly revealed, Well, I've slept with 239 men. 67 before I met my husband, 35 while we were dating, 12 while we were engaged, 78 during our marriage, and 46 after he passed away. St. Peter, caught off guard by her frankness and the extent of her exploits, stood stunned for a moment. He then leaned over to the angel and whispered, Give her a key to my room.
A blonde went to the dentist and said, I want you to paint my teeth blue. What? Exclaimed the dentist. Just do it, insisted the blonde. So the dentist painted her teeth blue. The blonde went back to her car and called her friend to talk about many things. While she was driving, a policeman stopped her. Ma'am, you were talking on your mobile while you were driving. Here is how much you must pay. Oh, come on! Don't you see I have Bluetooth?
A highway patrolman is patrolling a busy freeway, keeping an eye out for speeders and reckless drivers. Suddenly, he notices a car zooming past him, well above the speed limit. He quickly accelerates, pulling alongside the speeding vehicle. As he looks over, his eyes widen in disbelief. Behind the wheel is a blonde woman, completely focused on her task, knitting. The patrolman activates his flashing lights and siren, expecting the driver to pull over immediately. But the woman doesn't even glance in his direction. She is utterly oblivious to the chaos around her. The patrolman can't believe what he's seeing. He continues driving beside her with his lights on and his siren blaring, hoping to get her attention, but she remains unfazed. Determined to get her to stop, he rolls down his window, grabs his bullhorn, and shouts, "Pull over!" The blonde finally looks up from her knitting with a confused expression on her face. She seems to process his command for a moment, then shakes her head vigorously.
No!
She yells back.
It's a scarf!
Three young friends were having a lively discussion during their school lunch break, each one eager to boast about their father's remarkable speed. The first boy, with a sparkle in his eyes, eagerly started, "You guys, listen up. My dad, he's super quick. He works as a bricklayer, right? So, when he's working on a big building, like, say, the 5th floor up, he has this cool trick. He'll accidentally let a brick slip from his hands, and guess what? He's so fast that he can dash all the way down the stairs to the ground floor and catch that brick before it even has a chance to hit the ground. Can you believe that?" The second boy, not to be outdone, chimed in with a confident smile. "That's impressive, but my dad is even faster than that. You see, he's a professional archer, super skilled in all. He has this incredible ability. When he shoots an arrow straight towards the bullseye, he can actually sprint towards the target, and believe it or not, he gets there just in time to see the arrow hit. That's like faster than lightning." The third boy, who had been quietly listening to his friends, grinned slyly before sharing his story. "Well, both your dads are certainly fast, no doubt about that. But my dad, he's on a whole different level of fast. He works for the government as a public servant. And here's the thing, he finishes his work at 5 p.m., but he's so incredibly speedy that he manages to get home every single day by 2:30 in the afternoon.
Bruce Jr. was at school one morning in the Outback, and the teacher asked all the children what their fathers did for a living. All the typical answers came out: fireman, policeman, dunny salesman, chippy, captain of industry, bush pilot, etc. But Bruce Jr. was being uncharacteristically quiet, and so the teacher asked him about his father. "My father is an exotic dancer in a very popular gay nightclub in Brisbane, and takes off all his clothes in front of other men. Sometimes if the offer is really good, he'll go out with a man, have a few schooners or middies, eat a few pies with sauce, rent a cheap hotel room and let them sleep with him." The teacher quickly set the other children some work and took little Bruce Jr. aside to ask him if that was really true. "No," said Bruce Jr., "he plays cricket for Australia, but I was just too embarrassed to say."
In a small town, there was a married man who found himself grappling with guilt over a recent encounter. Seeking solace and forgiveness, he decided to visit the local church and confess his actions to the priest. He entered the confessional and nervously began, "Father, I almost had an affair with another woman." The priest, intrigued by the man's choice of words, asked, "What do you mean almost?" The man, somewhat embarrassed, explained, "Well, things got pretty far. We ended up undressing and got naked. We were really close, and we even rubbed together, but then I realized what I was doing and stopped myself." The priest listened intently and then responded with a serious tone, "Rubbing together is just as sinful as the act itself. You must not see that woman again. As penance, you should say 5 Hail Marys and also put $50 in the poor box as a gesture of goodwill." The man nodded, relieved to have confessed, and went about completing his penance. He said his prayers dutifully. Then he walked over to the poor box. He stood there for a moment, contemplating. Instead of putting the money in, he began to walk away. The priest, who had been observing the man's actions, quickly approached him and confronted him. "I saw what you did. You didn't put any money in the poor box." The man stopped, turned around, and replied, "Yeah, but I rubbed the $50 on the box, and according to you, that's the same as putting it in." There was an elderly gentleman who had been facing significant difficulties with his hearing for some time. Realizing the impact it was having on his life, he decided to seek professional help and went to a hearing specialist. The doctor, after a thorough examination, fitted him with advanced hearing aids that miraculously restored his hearing to its full strength. The transformation was remarkable, and the elderly man could hear as well as he did in his younger years. A few weeks later, the man returned to the specialist for a follow-up appointment. He wanted to ensure that his new hearing aids were functioning as expected. After a series of tests, the specialist confirmed that everything was in perfect working order. The specialist, pleased with the successful outcome, commented, "It all seems perfect. Your family must be delighted that you can hear everything." To the doctor's surprise, the elderly man replied, "Oh no, I haven't told any of them." He continued, with a knowing smile, "I just sit quietly, listening carefully to their conversations. You'd be amazed at what people say when they think you can't hear them. In fact, I've changed my will 4 times already."
Magic.
A married fellow gets home early from work and hears strange noises coming from the bedroom. He rushes upstairs to find his wife naked on the bed, sweating and panting. "What's up?" he asks. "I'm having a heart attack," cries the woman. I'm going to put a little more emphasis. Okay. Oh, I'm having a heart attack," cries the woman. He immediately runs downstairs to grab the phone. But just as he's calling, his 4-year-old son comes up and says, "Hey, Daddy, Uncle Ted's hiding in your closet and he's got no clothes on." The guy slams the phone down and stomps upstairs into the bedroom, rips open the closet door, and sure enough, there's his brother, buck naked, cowering in the closet. "You bastard," says the husband. "My wife's having a heart attack and all you can do is run around the house naked, scaring the kids?" Bye.